call the September 3rd, 2013 meeting of Erlanger City Council to order. Ask we all please rise and pledge the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Ms. Hoffman.
Mr. Longshore.
Present.
Mr. Burke.
Here.
Mr. Dunhoff.
Here.
Ms. Skidmore. Ms. Sedkamp.
Here.
Ms. Pitts.
Here.
Ms. Kyle.
Here.
Ms. Cahill.
Here.
Mr. Cahill.
Here.
Mr. Brown.
Here.
Mr. Blankenship.
Here.
Mr. Howard.
Here.
We have a quorum. You all should have received copies of the minutes of the special council meeting dated August 20th, 2013, as well as the special council meeting dated August 27th, 2013. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes at this time? If not, I'll entertain a motion to be adopted. Motion by Mr. Dunhoff, second by Ms. Kyle. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now it's time for our special presentations. Chief Fields, we have a new officer here with us, don't we? And it's not Chad.
You all know that with the recent retirement of Officer Lillick, this kind of pushed us ahead a little bit. He's been our canine officer for, I guess, the past 10 years almost. Officer Lillick had been. And Canine Salto was due to retire. So we thought that it was going to be just probably after the first of the year, but it happened a little quicker. So when Officer Lillick retired, we took applications and we chose Officer Girdler to be our next canine officer. And then we went to Pennsylvania and we found Osco. Chad has just come back and finished 6 weeks of training. I'll let him explain a little bit about that to you. But as you can see, the way he was running around here, the temperament that we've been looking for in a dog, you know, a lot of you have been around for a long time, have seen our different canines, and we've had a whole lot of different attitudes with our dogs. You know, the one we got, it took, what did it take, Steve, 4 hours to get him out of the cage at the airport when we brought him in here?
I have no recollection.
Yeah. So, I'm not sure how many people he bit by the time, but this was the attitude that we want and we promote in our canines. So I'll let Chad speak a little bit about the training that he just went through, and he's back. He's here. Everybody just needs to understand they're rookies again, all over again, and I'm sure it'll be a growing process. But there's your newest member of your police department for the next, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years, hopefully. Okay.
This is Asco. He came from Europe. He follows Dutch commands. So either it's Holland or somewhere.
See, he follows Dutch?
Yeah, I had Dutch commands for him. And he went through 12 weeks of training. I only went through 6. Wow. He had 6 weeks before I even showed up. So the level he was at, I brought him down a little bit. So he will continue to get better, and this is how he is. This is how he is when I take him home. When we did our training, this is how he was around some of the other guys, except for when we started doing some aggression work, and you'd see a different side of him. But it's nothing that I don't control. When I tell him to do something, he'll do it, and he works really well. This has been an adjustment for him to come down here, get away from all the training. He's got more space to run around. This is a pleasure for me. This is something I've always wanted to do, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to do this.
Well, he's a beautiful dog.
Chad, how did he react to you on your first meeting?
The first day there, they took me back into the kennels, and they have about 50 dogs that make a big L shape around this building. Here, see that? And he was about halfway down to one side. And between all the other dogs barking and bouncing off the walls, he would stand up as tall as I am and look at me through the gate and just want to lick. He's looking at me.
Oh, that's so neat.
You know, he doesn't He doesn't bark a whole lot at
So
the house.
he's not a very good judge of characters.
Oh, yeah. when he's in the car, they did something very nice for me. And when he's been sitting in the car in between different exercises, the guys would walk up to the window and get him wound up. So anybody that walks past the car now, when he's in it, you're going to hear him. You're going to know he's in there.
Okay.
But and when he gets out, he'll come up to you and say hi, just like
He's beautiful.
nothing really bothers his dog.
But then you say a couple words and he's ramped up, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can sit there. I was going in my yard today. Just me and him. He's about 10 feet from me, and I get him barking, just looking right at me, just getting excited, playing, and it's all it takes. That's all it is for these dogs, is just play. Everything's play. Even aggression work is play to him, because that's what he wants to do. He wants to have fun.
Great.
He's awesome.
He is awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck, Chad.
Senator McDaniel, I know you have a tough act to follow here.
I do, very, very much. You know, you follow a four-legged one with a politician, you wonder who the dog is. You know, so just gotta
Our
wonder.
senator called today and wanted to come tonight, if it was okay, to discuss the recent legislative session about the redistricting and give us kind of an overview of where we are. And I'm happy to have Senator McDaniel here with us. Chris?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Thank you all for having me. I'll be very brief. I just wanted to let you know kind of the results of redistricting and what that would mean for Erlanger. As a result in the Senate, I now have all of Erlanger as part of my district. Previously, Senator Schickel represented some of the northern precincts of Erlanger, and Senator Thayer had a couple of the Richardson precincts. As a result of the redistricting, we were able to work it out to where we were able to stitch all that together, so you have a single unified representative in the Senate now, and that's me, and I'm very excited about that. We worked very hard to try to put cities back together in our plan, and I was thrilled that we were able to do that for Erlanger, and it was going to stay with me. The second thing that occurred, obviously, is the House plan. Under the House plan, House District 63, which was Representative St. Ange, she will now represent Richardson 2 and 3, and Representative Koenig out of District 69 will represent the balance of Erlanger. So that's pretty much all that I have tonight. I wanted to let you know the outcome and who will be representing the various areas, and I'm really looking forward to representing all of Erlanger now as a unified city. So thank you for your time, and Mr. Mayor, pending any questions that anyone has, I'd be glad to answer them.
I just want you to reintroduce your bill about the spiking.
Okay.
And just as simple as it was, and get it passed, and not that big long thing that the League of Cities has. All right?
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thanks, sir.
Any questions? Thanks for coming.
All right. Thank you all very much. I appreciate you having me. Thanks.
Mayor's report tonight is very short. Been a busy month. I spent part of it in San Francisco, part of it here, part of it running like crazy, trying to get everything done. I'm going to ask for an executive session at the conclusion to discuss personnel. I'll ask Mr. Howard to look up the right KRS section when we go into executive session. But other than that, we're busy here. Lots of stuff going on, as you can see, and we're just going to keep up the hard work. And that's all I have this evening. Reports of standing committees, public safety, police, and Sudcamp, Ms. Pitts.
You saw our report. Chief's in the house. Well, I lied. I lied.
He's kind of right around the corner. I think he's fine. You have anything else this evening? Any questions of police? Okay, very good. We'll move on to public safety, fire and EMS. Mr. Dunoff, Ms. Skidmore.
We have no report.
No report.
Captain Dye's in the house.
Any report? Tim? Any questions of the fire committee? This is going to be maybe pizza. Pizza. Public Works, Mr. Cahill, Mr. Brown.
Sure, we have a report from Mr. Bogart. I'm sure he'll be able to answer any questions if you have any. Mr. Bogart?
Mr. Bogart? Any questions of the Public Works Committee? Administration, Mr. Burke, Mr. Longshore.
I've got a couple things. For August, we did 52 applications on the passport for $1,300 and a total of $27,000 for this year. And that's about all I have.
Missy's in the house.
There we go.
Any report? Any questions of Ms. Andrus or the Administration Committee? Seeing none, Finance, Mr. Howard, Mr. Blankenship.
Just something short, Mayor. Staff is completing the work necessary to close the 2013 fiscal period. They expect that the books will finally be closed and ready for the auditors in the next few weeks, 2 weeks. As soon as the final entries are posted, staff will prepare and distribute a preliminary unaudited finance report for fiscal year 2013. The auditors are scheduled to do their preliminary work on September 23rd and 24th. They will return on October 7th and are expected to complete their field work by October the 16th. And Greg's in the house.
Mr. Engelmann. Any questions of the Finance Committee or Mr. Engelmann? Move to Friendship City Networking, Ms. Kyle, Ms. Cahill.
You're going to hate us.
We have a report.
3 pages. We'll go quickly here. The newsletter, the fall edition of the Whistle Stop newsletter will be sent out with the property taxes in October. The website committee, the committee met to discuss social media law. The committee is working on the following regarding city's Facebook page, written procedures, accountability, and endorsement. For city information, updates, and events, please visit the City of Erlanger on Facebook and like us. The 9th annual Friendship City 5K. The Friendship City 5K was held on Sunday, August the 25th. We had 165 registered participants for the race. The weather was sunny and cool in the morning for the race. Awards were handed out for overall male and female runner walker, as well as first and second place winners. Door prizes were given away to participants. A big thanks for all the companies who donated this year, and we need to give them credit for all the time and money that they spent with us. Wickman and Associates, Viox and Viox, Tri-State Running, CSI Republic, Heritage Bank, Bank of Kentucky, Kroger, Erlanger Putt Putt, Super Bowl, Colonial Cottage, Lawrenceburg Speedway, Panera Bread, and United Dairy Farmer. And a special thanks to all the volunteers who helped us out at the race. John Dunhoff, Bill Howard, Kathy Cahill, Lauren Cahill, and Taylor Conant, Vicki Kyle, and the students of St. Henry's High School. Missy Andrus, Sherry and Paige Hoffman, Jennifer Magerly, Eli, Donovan, and Carson Tackett, Bobby Joe Carsinger, Marcia Bach, Rhonda Wolf, and the EMS staff. Chief Woods, Chief Jansing, and the PD staff, the Explorers, Angela Stafford, Raven Kane, and special thanks to Public Works Department, Bob Martin, and Jason Imes, Ralph Sidner, Faith, and Chris Woods, who made my job a lot easier. Thank you to all.
And I'm just going to report on Heritage Days. Sunday, September 15th from 1 to 5. It's the 22nd annual Heritage Day celebration held at the Depot Park. And this year's celebration has something new. It's called the Park Walking Tour. And you stop by different stations posted in the park and you read the pamphlet explaining the history behind each station. And there's also going to be the horse and carriage rides provided by Mr. and Mrs. Skidmore. A variety of arts and crafts booths, martial arts demonstrations by Gary Williams and Kim's Korean Martial Arts. Terry Allen will be presenting the Canine Rescue demonstration. So enjoy tours of the Erlanger Depot Museum where you can check out the Civil War display, historic artifacts, and other memorabilia. There will be storytelling on the back porch by the Historical Society, a 6-foot inflatable double slide, children's quest, petting zoo, face painting, and fun games for the kids. Food will be provided by the Erlanger Methodist Youth Group, Colonial Cottage, and Snappy Tomato. And last but not least, Kona Ice and Mr. Softy will be back again this year. So it's shaping up to be another great celebration, and we encourage everybody to attend, even if you can just stay for a few minutes. You know, it's our Heritage Day. It's the one big celebration that celebrates our history.
And you get to see the new gazebo.
Yes, the new gazebo. I forgot about that, yeah.
Yes.
And Miss Hopkins is in the house.
Have anything, Becky? Mark, I left you out. Do you have anything to report? No, sir. Okay, any questions of Friendship City? All right, let's go to reports of special committees. The Compensation Committee, Chief Fields.
So we have nothing further to report except for the last committee
Okay, very good. You've heard the reports of standing committees and special committees. I'll entertain a motion to be adopted as presented. Motion by Mr. Longshore, second by Mrs. Skidmore. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any reports from any representatives this evening? Yes, Mr. Cahill.
Actually, I'll be on a special team that will be looking at when we find a Kenton County Transportation Plan. This is being headed by Judge Arlinghouse. And I do need to get 2 things attached to our webpage and our Friendship City Facebook. So,
good.
2 links.
Any other reports of any groups this evening? Yes.
Number 11, the Kenton County Alliance does not have their funding anymore, so they're not known as Kenton County Alliance. They're trying to regroup, and if you remember, Kathy Mavis was at our last meeting, and she's trying to do something, she's trying to get something going with the seniors. She's always been involved, but this Kenton County Alliance does not exist as that anymore.
You got that? Thanks. Any other groups? Now we'll move on to the reports of city operations. Mr. Vios.
Yes, sir. The McAlpin Avenue realignment project is moving along. The delay in the last week or so has been associated with the utility companies and the highway department moving their facilities. And today the KDOT's contractor was there putting in the foundations for the 2 new signal poles so they can move the signals off the other poles so those poles can be removed that are in the way. The telephone company happened to be there this afternoon too, and they're trying to get a pole that's holding up the paving start, and if they can get it moved by the end of the week, we should start seeing some pavement start next week. The sidewalk portion of the project has gone as far as it can until they get the street paved and the bus pull-off constructed, and then the beautification sidewalk on Dixie will be extended down to the intersection, to the crosswalk, behind the bus pull-off, and to the end of the reconnection into the curb line on Dixie Highway on the south end. So we are making some progress, and actually the time frame for this project, we didn't really anticipate we'd see any pavement until about November, and we're going to see it before the end of September. Hopefully usable by the end of September. That's all I have.
Any questions of Mr. Vios? Yes, Shane.
So it looked like they moved the whole bench.
Yes,
they did.
It looked like it survived.
Yeah, well, that's survived, and I'm not sure it'll survive to go back in place, but we'll see.
Any other questions?
No, but it looks funny just sitting there.
Mr. Wickman.
I have nothing to report, Mayor.
Any questions of our city attorney? You've heard the reports of city operations. I entertain a motion to be adopted as presented. Motion by Ms. Pitts, second by Ms. Sudkamp. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Sherry, do we have any correspondence?
No, sir.
Any member of council have any correspondence? Anybody sign up to speak this evening? Is there any reports of work in progress this evening? Does anybody have anything for the good and welfare of the city this evening?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Johnny.
Earlier Lions Carnival this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Doghouse is playing Saturday night, which is a well-known band in Northern Kentucky. And Mayor Marconi from Independence is the drummer of that band.
Yeah, he's the city manager of Fort Mitchell now.
But we got Murray Brothers Ride Company back, 13 rides for kids and adults. So,
great.
You know, looking for a nice weekend. Not going to be humid. It's going to be nice and beautiful.
Does that start on Thursday?
Right.
Does that start
we moved it to Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
1 to 9 on Saturday or Sunday. Midnight each Friday and Saturday.
Anything else? Move the legislation. Mr. Wickman.
Regular speed, Frank. Going to read it regular speed.
And ordinance of the City of Erlanger, Kenton County, Kentucky, revising Section 2 of Ordinance 2265 regarding the termination of the employment of non-elected officers of the city. By summary, the ordinance revises the ordinance that regulates the authority of the mayor to terminate non-elected officers of the city, and I emphasize we're only talking about non-elected officers, and limits his authority to do that to the approval by the city council.
Motion to be adopted and order published. Motion by Mr. Dunhoff, second by Mr. Burke. Roll call vote.
Ms. Skidmore?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Cahill?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Sudcamp?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Longshore?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Blankenship?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Howard?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Pitts?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Kyle?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Burke?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Dunhoff?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Brown?
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question to ask you. If I veto this, are you going to override my veto? I think this personally takes away from the power the mayor as granted by the Kentucky Constitution and the Kentucky Revised Statutes. I think it's within your purview to operate this. I'm not going to waste everybody's time by going through the exercise. I'm inclined right now to veto it, but if you guys are going to override my veto, I'll sign it.
Well, that's on the spot, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd probably override your veto if it was up to me.
I would sign it.
You all feel that way? All right. This is not going to hurt me. This is going to hurt the next mayor. Because I'm not going to go through this crap again. All right, I'll sign it. It's done. Next, Mr. Wickman.
Yes, sir. It's an ordinance of the City of Erlanger and Kenton County, Kentucky, providing for the annual assessment of all real estate and personal property within the City of Erlanger that's subject to taxation for the fiscal year beginning on July 1, 2013, ending on June 30th, 2014, providing for the payment and collection of such taxes, penalties, and interest, and describing the purpose for which the taxes so collected by shall be appropriated and used. By summary, the ordinance, first of all, provides for the adoption of the assessment of the real estate and personal property in the city by the Kenton County Property Valuation Administrator. The ad valorem tax on realty is scheduled at $0.3570 for each $100 of the value thereof assessed. The tax on personal property other than motor vehicles is set at the rate of $0.6780 for each $100 of the valuation thereof. The ordinance establishes that the taxes are due and payable on the first day of October 2013, subject to a discount of 2% if paid during the month of October, provides they become delinquent on December 31st, 2013, and thereafter there shall be added thereto a penalty of 20% plus interest of 6% per annum, plus court costs of a collection and attorney's fees, and provides that in order to secure the payment of the taxes, the property subject to the taxes shall have a lien in favor of the City of Erlanger to secure the payment of the taxes.
The motion to be to adopt an order published. Is there a motion? Motion by Ms. Kyle, second by Ms. Pitts. Discussion. The debate on this one was, go back historically a little bit, I'm trying not to cut into pizza time, but we agreed to take the +4 to meet the budget when we did the budget. Then Greg was able to do the numbers, and it turns out that he said we could probably meet the budget with the compensating rate, not the +4. And we heard some of the compensation committee saying we're going to need more money down the road to fix our broken compensation system. And some of the discussion was, do we go ahead and take the +4 now in order to start developing a pool for which to fix the broken system? It is right now what's on the table, what's been motioned and second is the compensating rate, and we'll worry about the compensation system when we get a new system in place. Or do you want to go and take the +4 now? It's your baby. There's a motion and a second. Discussion.
Missy, can we get the numbers again? Do you
I have them.
that? With the 4%?
I think that would be a good starting point.
I have them here if you need them, Missy.
The current compensating rate for real property with this ordinance is $3.57. For personal, it's $6.78. If it's the compensating plus more that we take, it is $3.71 for the real estate and $7.05 for the personal property.
Corinne? I'm sorry.
I want to vote just taking comp because I think the tangible has increased a lot, and I just think the businesses, it'll really hurt them a lot if we take the +4 this time.
Shane?
No, I was just going to agree with Ms. Pitts on this one. I think we should just keep it at the comp, and I'll take the +4 this time around. Let's get things in line. Let's let Chief Fields and the committee bring us exactly what we need, how we need to do it, and then we can make a plan.
And then we'll attack it next year.
To go forward
Okay.
at the next one.
Patty? Anybody else?
If I have another time to decide, we are struggling, you guys. We cannot pay our people what they deserve to be paid. If you don't take this +4, we never get that money back again.
But you also gotta look at what our citizens are going through.
I'm
gonna be honest with you, there's people out there that hadn't had a raise in a long time, and all it's going up is our taxes and our services. And we can't constantly dig these people for more money when they don't have it coming in. That's why we got all the foreclosures in the area now.
It's the difference of shopping at Macy's and Walmart. We
I'm not
have
saying
got
everybody
the
does that.
finest of everything. Our citizens should not for 1 second think that we are gouging them because they are getting the best. They're getting the cream of the crop. I don't want to become another city. I want to stay at the top. I want to be the envy of all these other cities. And we are. And I want to stay there.
I'll tag off what JD's saying. Forget having a raise. There's people that haven't had a job in a long time. And that's even tougher than not having a raise. And there's a lot of those folks out there right now too.
We ready to vote? Oh, Vicki, go ahead.
And the other thing too, I don't know if you read in the paper or not, but the Erlanger City schools have to raise their rates because they're in trouble. They're not getting the aid that they usually get from the state of Kentucky, so that's going up. And like JD said, people are just struggling. I mean, there are people that decide whether they should have heat or their medicine. I mean, especially some of the older people that, you know, live on Social Security, and even the young people that have kids. I mean, it's awful. It's just terrible. I mean, we'd like to do whatever we can do, and hopefully next year, and I think a lot of our tax base is from the business world, and hopefully something will just start breaking loose where, you know, we get more businesses attracted to Erlanger, and that would help us out a lot.
And I think if we raise it, we're not going to attract businesses because the businesses, it really increased a lot from last year. Because it went from 6.2 to 6.78 just for comp, and that's huge for the businesses.
Are we ready to vote?
Yes.
Roll call.
Mr. Brown?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Dunhoff?
No, ma'am.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. This
We're
this is
voting on
for
the
comp.
compensating rate,
This
whether
is
to
for
take the
comp.
compensating.
Yes. Right. This is just
This
comp.
is just compensation.
Let's do it again, hold on.
Yes.
The motion and second on the floor is to accept the ordinance which has the comp rate and not the +4.
Okay, can we start that over?
Sorry.
Mr. Brown? Pay attention.
I should have made that clear, my fault. Go ahead,
My
John.
fault, sorry.
Mr. Brown?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Dunhoff?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Burke?
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Kyle?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Pitts?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Howard?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Blankenship?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Longshore?
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Sedkamp?
No, ma'am.
Miss Cahill?
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Skidmore?
Yes, ma'am.
Motion carries. Mr. Wickman, any more?
No, sir.
You missed your pizza by 1 minute.
No, we didn't, because we're not gonna be adjourned.
Well, we have to go into executive session.
We have plenty of time to eat them now.
Mr. Howard?
Yes, Mayor. I want to make a motion that we go into executive session, please, as provided by KRS 61810, paragraph 1, section B.
Thank you. That's the motion. Is there a second by Mr. Longshore? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? We'll go across the hall in the executive session. I'll ask Chief Fields if he'll join us. Frank, you